A date with flamingos. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the podcast of The Ordinary Maverick. This is Ajay, your host, an ordinary maverick, sharing real life thoughts and experiences and maverick tips. If you haven't hit the subscribe button yet, please do so, and you'll not miss another episode. The day started like any other, although a bit earlier than usual. We completed the morning routine, breakfast, and then getting ready, all in a state of anticipation. Although it's been about, close to 2 decades now, I still remember that day as if it was yesterday. Our girls were little at the time, but there was enough excitement built up for them to have that extra beat in their steps. And both were chiming, "We are going to see the flamingos, we are going to see the flamingos." I'm sure at the time they didn't really know what those were, but our excitement, mine and of my wife, rubbed off on our girls too. We had read about the migratory flamingos coming to Mumbai, the city where we were living in at that time. There are mud flats in an area in Mumbai, surprisingly as it may sound. It was an adventure of a journey too, as we lived quite far from this place. But as they say, the end justifies the means. Well, the anticipation of seeing the flamingos and then having seen them made everything worthwhile. What was even more special is that these birds only come into Mumbai in specific months. Every year, one sees thousands of flamingos that come from Kutch in Gujarat and stay in Mumbai for about 6 months. They come to the Thane Sivri belt, and other birds can also be seen in that area. In fact, it's called the Sea of Pink, and this year over 100,000 flamingos flew in for the season. That's a big plus, and one that environmentalists continue to monitor. Sadly, there's a real threat to their habitat with excessive construction and the destruction of mangroves and wetlands. There is an international treaty for the conservation and sustainable use of wetlands, the Ramsar Convention on Wetlands of International Importance, signed in 1971. And there is a proposal towards designating the biodiversity-rich Thane Creek Flamingo Sanctuary as a Ramsar site, which will really help in preserving the sites for our flamingos. Well, on that day we made a long trip to the Sivri Creek and had the most amazing sighting of hundreds and thousands of the most beautiful flame-colored and pink birds ever. It was truly a sea, or rather an ocean of pink. We ended the day with all of us falling in love with these flame-colored birds, especially our girls who were experiencing this for the first time. It made our hearts full seeing the beauty before us, and all I can say is that we should take every opportunity there is to go out and enjoy nature and build more of these beautiful memories for our memory bank. Fellow Mavericks, hope you remember the memory bank I've shared about earlier. Keep building your memory bank, everyone. Beautiful, graceful flamingos. These birds are part of a group of wading birds, and there are 4 species distributed throughout the Americas, including the Caribbean, and 2 species are native to Afro-Eurasia. Interestingly, a group of flamingos is also called a flamboyance, and the beautiful name flamingo comes from Portuguese or Spanish flamingo. That means flame covered. Basically, all the origins of the word are linked to their beautiful color crimson or red feathered. So, the different species are called the greater flamingo, lesser flamingo, Chilean flamingo, James flamingo, Andean flamingo, and the American flamingo. Most often, one finds the flamingo standing on one leg with the other tucked beneath the body. And there are, quite some theories about this behavior. One is that standing on one leg allows the birds to conserve more body heat, given that they spend a significant amount of time wading in cold water. But then one also sees them doing the same in warm water, and is also seen in birds that do not typically stand in water. Then there is another theory that standing on one leg reduces the energy expenditure for producing muscular effort to stand and balance on one leg. Well, whatever the case may be, it's a distinctive feature of the flamingos. They are really good flyers, and when kept in captivity, their wings are clipped to prevent escape. There's this story of the African flamingo which had not yet had their wings clipped, and they escaped from the Kansas Zoo in 2005. One was spotted in Texas 14 years later and had been seen previously by birders in Texas, Wisconsin, and Louisiana. When one says flamingo, the first thing that comes to mind is their color. But young flamingos hatch with grayish-red plumage, and the adults range from light pink to bright red due to the aqueous bacteria and beta-carotene obtained from their food supply. And when they are bright and more vibrantly colored, it shows that they are well nourished. Flamingos are very noisy birds, and they can make grunting or growling noises to nasal honking. They are very social birds living in colonies whose population can number in the thousands, and there's a reason for these large colonies. They can avoid predators, maximize the food intake, and also use scarce, suitable nesting sites more efficiently. Flamingos form strong pair bonds and establish nesting territories. They also aggressively defend their nesting sites. Once the chicks hatch, they also stay in the nesting sites. And at 2 weeks old, the chicks come together in a group called microcreches. And after some time, the microcreches merge into creches containing thousands of chicks. It's been seen that chicks that do not stay in the creche are vulnerable to predators. Flamingos thrive best in colonies, and zoos have used mirrors to improve flamingo breeding behaviors. The mirrors are thought to give the flamingos the impression that they are a larger flock than they actually are. Some more interesting facts about flamingos. They are the national bird of the Bahamas, and they have a relationship with ancient cuisine. Yes, I couldn't believe it myself. Flamingos were among the most prized in ancient Roman cuisine. They were eaten, of course, but it seems their tongues were especially considered and included in ancient cuisine recipes. Flamingos have large, rough surface tongues, and their bills and tongues are specially adapted to separate mud and silt from the food they eat and are uniquely used upside down. They can filter food items as they take in mud and silt along with the brine shrimp and blue-green algae and insect larvae, small insects and mollusks that they love eating. As a family, we have loved birds and nature, but for some reason, flamingos are special. I see so many interconnections. Flamingos bloom and come into their own as they grow up into adults. Humans do the same, and flamingos live in colonies. They enjoy socializing. Humans do that too. They make friends for life, and we do so too. In fact, flamingos have strong partnerships, and that includes mated couples that build nests together and raise chicks every year, as well as same-sex friends and group of 3 to 6 close buddies. There was a study carried out in the UK by a behavioral ecologist who collected data for 5 years and observed the flamingos. It was clearly observed that flamingos maintained selectively stable friendships, mainly characterized by standing together. It's possible these bonds could last decades. Flamingos can actually live for about 50 years, and it's seen that these relationships are important for survival in the wild. There's another interesting behavior. These wading birds carefully avoid certain individuals, and this avoidance may serve to prevent squabbles. In fact, one way to reduce stress and fights is to avoid those birds you don't get on with. I think that's something we should learn from these beautiful birds, right? So much stress and angst will be avoided this way in our lives too. Speaking about long-lasting friendships recalls the friendships we have built over the years. In our lives, a very special friend group was born 21 years ago. 5 couples came together and have stayed close friends ever since. The interesting part is that it started with 5 individuals who met at work, and then gradually the respective spouses got to know each other, and then the children. Everyone moved jobs and went off in different career directions. In fact, Over the years, some of the friends moved overseas and relocated, but the friendship stayed strong, made more so by the fact that every effort was done towards meeting up and connecting wherever possible. And then, during the 10th anniversary of our friendship, we did a special trip, a holiday to the city in central India. All families, friends, spouses, children, everyone was there. And we created the most beautiful memories together. Now, as we approach our 21st anniversary, we hope to celebrate it for an upcoming special occasion, a wedding. Yes, it promises to be very special. Fellow Mavericks, many of us have special friendships, and let's take a moment to be grateful for these bonds and commit to nurture them forever. Just like flamingos, we make friends for life too. And you know what? Just as the research shows these long-term relationships are important for survival in the wild, well, it's also important for our survival too. Think about it. Do keep writing your comments and sharing your feedback via our Instagram at The Ordinary Maverick or through our hashtag, The Ordinary Maverick. I love hearing from you. This is Ajay signing off and wishing you have an amazing day, a super amazing year. Keep well, stay safe. Credits. This podcast series was put together as a team effort from the Bhardwaj family. Concept, design, title, researchers and reviewers Ajay, Sanjana, Avantika and Niharika Bhardwaj. Script, Sanjana. Cover design, Niharika. All rights reserved.